For the dying person, the world is teeming with spirits, both benign and terrifying. But as the Tibetan Lamas know, and Joe Campbell emphasizes, these spirits are but projections of our own fears and desires. The Tibetan Book of the Dead has little connection to our modern way of seeing the world. But remember, this guide for the dying also has significance for the living, and Joe might add Tibetan or otherwise.
Now we're going to descend one step to the realm of the knowledge-holding deities. They're having a ball. I always think of it as a kind of college prom. And they're shouting, "Death, death, death." And they're waving banners that are made of flayed human skins. They're blowing trumpets made of thigh bones of human beings and so forth. Death is the ornament of life. They're not afraid of death, and they're right on the edge, still experiencing the excitement of dying and so forth. This is the way they look. This is the mandala. It's a terrific affair. These are the gods that were formerly the benevolent. Varachana, Akshobhya, and so forth and so on. Now this is one of the people they're dancing with. This is known as a Dakini. That's a space ferry. I once saw on 42nd Street an advertisement for a movie, you know, Fire Women of Outer Space. That's what we've got here. And in this hand is a flaying knife with a thunderbolt handle. Here's a staff with heads on it and thunderbolt, necklace of skulls, and so forth and so on. This is the kind that you meet at these parties. This is the lion-headed Dakini, Singha Dakini, trampling the mere animal nature. In fact, every time one does accept a partner like that, one has trampled on one's own animal nature. Compassion has taken over. This is the great one, Sarva Buddha Dakini, the Dakini, or fairy goddess of all the Buddhas. And what is she drinking from? That's the top of a skull. And what is she drinking? Blood. And she's wearing this kilt here made of human bones carved. And there is the thunderbolt flaying knife, and so forth and so on. These are the partners in this dance. You're dancing in partnership with Lady Death, and you don't mind. Here is the inspiration for many of these images. This is Kali, the Hindu goddess of the same power, drinking from a skull. This has been taken over in the Buddhist system by these Dakinis. Now here is a skull with a nice silver border. And here is such a symbolic flaying knife. Kilt of human bones that have been carved, symbolic images. Human thigh bones used for trumpets, and here is a monk blowing such a trumpet. Here in one of the monasteries around Delhi, we have this dance of the monks as skeletons around what is pretended to be a dead body. Here is a crown of 5 silver skulls. I mean, death is being celebrated at this stage. And then lower than that come the deities in their ferocious aspects, the wrathful aspects of the deities, and it's described. And the Lama at the bedside will be saying, the deities will be coming to you, every hair of the head radiant with fire, and they'll be making strange sounds, claw, 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 and so forth, terrifying, terrifying, do not be terrified. These are but the violent aspects of your own consciousness. There's one of them. There's another one of them. Ravana, the Lord Death. Another, the whole being is just terror and fright. And the Lama will be saying, do not be terrified, do not move. This is the second temptation of the Buddha, temptation of fear and terror. Be calm. Now, this is what is known as Yamantaka, that aspect of the powers that kills in you the fear of death. Yama is the Lord of Death, the first man who died, And antaka means end, the ender of the fear of death, ender of the law of death. And he is surrounded here by various powers. This is a female figure who is a convert to Buddhism. And she goes out to convert everybody else. You know how converts are. And a little bit insecure, and they want to reassure themselves by converting everybody else. And people who would not submit, she flayed. Her name is Lhamo, L-H-A-M-O. The first person she could not convert and so slayed was her own son. Here's a representation of her in such a fury that you can't even see her. But this peacock feathered parasol is her sign. And here are flayed creatures that she has. It's trying to give you the sense of the violent aspect of the power to break the ego. And here is Vajratara, the thunderbolt holder, and the door guardian with a flaying knife as the crown of his tahayara, and the bowl of a skull as his drinking vessel. We've come down now from the top chakra through the sixth. We've come down to chakra 5 here. The syllable is hung. And now we're coming down to the 4th chakra, where the syllable is yang, at the level of the heart, and you see the 2 triangles. This is the place of decision. If you don't